The scream came from the fence line. Not human, not animal. A sound made of everything that never should have been born. The hens went still in the coop, feathers frozen mid-ruffle. A dog barked once, then backed into shadow. Wind stopped like it didn't want to get close. She dropped the bucket of feed without hearing it hit. Her boots barely touched the steps. She ran like something was already chasing her. The wire fence stood crooked, same as always. Only now there was a wooden crate beneath it, the old orchard kind. Slats split, corners nailed with rust. Inside, a baby, naked but for one thing. A flower-white kitchen apron wrapped around it like a shroud. She froze. The baby blinked, then it screamed again. She didn't touch the crate. She reached inside and lifted him straight from it, hands shaking, breath gone. He wasn't cold. He wasn't dirty. He didn't smell like birth or blood. But the apron did. Her mouth parted. No words came. The name stitched across the pocket was crooked, hand done. The red thread had bled into the cotton, faded now but still legible. Faye. Her mother's name. Not just the name. The thread. The stitch. The way the Y dipped too long, curling under like a question never answered. Her mother had sewn it herself. 30 years ago. She pressed the baby against her chest, apron and all. "No," she whispered. The baby stopped crying. She looked up the road. Empty. She looked to the chicken shed. Silent. She listened. Nothing but the creak of old wood cooling in the evening. Someone had come, set it down, walked away without sound or witness. "Who did this?" she muttered. The baby made a sucking sound, small and dry. She carried him back to the porch. The screen door groaned, same as it had for decades. Inside, the kitchen still smelled like onions and bleach. She set the baby down on the counter, careful, not too close to the edge. The apron came loose when she unwrapped him. Her hands trembled as she folded it, one corner at a time, until the name disappeared. She placed it on the table, just stared. The baby kicked once, fists balled, silent. She turned on the faucet, let the water run hot, splashed her face, looked up into the mirror above the sink. "What are you?" she asked. Her reflection didn't answer. Outside, something knocked. She spun. It wasn't the door. Another knock. Hollow. Wooden. She opened the screen. The crate still sat by the fence, but now it was empty. She hadn't moved it. She'd taken the baby. But the crate was back. Same spot. Same lean. A single white chicken feather floated in the air beside it. She ran toward it. Nothing inside. No note. But there were scratches on the inside wall of the crate now. Fresh ones, like a knife or nail, had scraped letters into the wood. They weren't words, just lines. 5 vertical, 1 crosswise. Again, and again. Someone counting, someone keeping track. Her throat went tight. She turned back to the house. The baby screamed again. She ran faster. When she got to the porch, the door was open. It hadn't been open. She grabbed the handle, pulled it shut behind her, locked it. She didn't lock things. Not out here. She picked up the baby, held him tighter. He smelled like milk. Her hands were wet. She looked down. No blood, just sweat. Or maybe her own tears. She couldn't tell. She sat. The clock ticked. "Tell me who you belong to," she whispered. The baby stared. "You're not hers," she said. The baby blinked. "You're not mine either." The baby blinked slower. She looked at the apron again, picked it up, unfolded it, turned it over. On the inside hem, barely there, a second name, small, shaky. June. Her name, her handwriting. She didn't remember stitching it. She didn't remember ever touching this apron since the funeral. But there it was. Her hands dropped the cloth. The baby cooed, a soft gurgling sound. Not scared, not hurt, just waiting. She picked up the cordless phone, stared at the numbers, then set it back down. There was no one left to call, no one who'd answer. "Why now?" she asked. The baby didn't cry. He just watched her like he knew she didn't really want the answer. She rocked him slowly, her knees aching in the chair. "Someone wants me to remember." The light over the sink flickered. She didn't look. Outside, something moved past the window. Not fast, not hiding. She stood, baby in her arms, apron on the counter, door locked behind her. She whispered, "I see you." No one replied, but the dog began barking again, far off near the chicken shed, and didn't stop. She pushed the door open with her shoulder. The baby curled against her chest. Bare feet slapped the linoleum. The apron dangled from her clenched hand. The sheriff didn't look up. He held a chipped ceramic mug in both hands like it might save him. He stared at the swirl of coffee like it held answers. Steam rose, untouched. "You already know," she said. He set the mug down slow, let out a long breath through his nose. "I don't want to do this, June." "Too late. Don't come in here barefoot." "I didn't come in here for flooring advice." She dropped the apron on his desk. It landed soft, folded, but creased. The baby let out a soft grunt. "You recognize it." He didn't speak. "Say it." He rubbed his jaw. His fingers trembled. His eyes stayed on the cloth. "Looks like Faye's." "It is Faye's. Could be a copy." "It isn't." "Could be some kind of don't lie." He finally looked up. She saw it in his face, that old crack that had never sealed right. "Where'd it come from?" "Fence line." "Crate?" "Yes." "No note?" "No." "Footprints?" "None." He stared at the child. Didn't move. "Let me see him." "No." "I just want—" "You don't get to look." The baby blinked slow, unbothered. The sheriff stood, hands on the desk, still didn't cross around it. "Sit down, June. I'll stand. This ain't the place to be emotional. You remember what you said the night we buried her?" He paused. "You said it was over. You said we'd never hear her name again." "I meant it." "You lied." I believed it." "You helped them burn her clothes. You took the coroner's pen and signed that lie of a report. You put her under a number." "I remember." "You left me with nothing." He looked at the mug, reached for it, thought better, pulled his hand back. "Where did the crate go?" "Still out there." "You touch it?" "No." "Anyone else see it?" "Not yet." "You tell anyone?" "Just you." "Good." She tilted her head. "Good?" He didn't answer. She stepped closer. "You knew she was pregnant when she disappeared, didn't you?" "I didn't." "Bullshit." "I swear." "I saw the records." "What records?" "From the clinic out on Mill Creek. She went in twice that year. No one followed up." His eyes dropped to the apron. "She came here scared. And you sent her home." "She wouldn't say who." "You didn't ask." "I did." "You didn't push." She was 17. He wiped his face. "Looked old doing it." "I made mistakes." "Number you kept secrets." "Same damn thing." She sat the baby on the edge of the desk. His tiny hands curled into the fabric of her shirt. "You think he's hers?" he asked. "I know he is." "You think he's that same baby?" "Time fits." "That'd make him near 30. "Or something's wrong with time." The sheriff flinched. "You believe that?" "I believe what I held in my arms last night." He picked up the mug, took a sip, winced, set it back down. "You buried her by the water tanks." His face hardened. "You don't know that." "I do." "June. I walked out there last summer. The ground still don't grow right." "That ain't proof." "No, but it's memory." The baby made a sound, not quite a cry, more like a breath too deep for his little lungs. "I remember the day she vanished," she said. "She made cornbread. She tied that apron. She said she had to go see someone. She never came back." "I know. You never called in the dogs." "There was no crime." "There was. You just didn't want to say it out loud." He reached for the apron. She slapped his hand. "No. I need to see it. You need to confess." "I didn't touch her." "You let them." "I didn't know they would." "You did." He sat back. "I'm tired, June." "Good." He rubbed his temple. "You can't bring her back." "I'm not trying to." "Then what?" "I want someone to say it out loud." "That she's gone." "That she was killed." He looked at the baby again. The silence settled between them. "I'll dig it up if I have to," she said. "You'll go to jail." "You'll come with me." He laughed. "Just once." Bitter. Quiet. "Whole town would." "I know." "You're going to start a fire." "It already started." He leaned forward, elbows on the desk, voice low. "Are you sure it's a baby?" "What do you mean?" "Are you sure it's human?" She looked down. The child's eyes were open, dark, watching, too still. "He doesn't blink much." "No." "Faye didn't blink either when she came in that last time." "I remember. She said something strange." "What?" "She said he was already inside her before the night they took her." June blinked. "She said he came from the well." "What well?" "You know which one." "No." "You've seen it." The room went still. "You drank from the wrong cup," she said. He didn't answer. She picked the baby back up, held him against her. I'm gonna find who left him. I'm gonna ask questions you never asked. Be careful who you wake up. I'm already awake. She turned, walked out. Her bare feet left damp prints on the tile. The sheriff picked up the apron, held it to his face, closed his eyes. Outside, the siren on the grain tower let out a single, low whine. The baby stared back through the glass. She didn't knock, just walked in holding the baby against her chest like a question nobody wanted to ask out loud. Aunt Berla was standing at the stove, stirring broth with one hand, flipping cornbread with the other. Her back was straight, her hair pinned into the same tight bun she'd worn since June was a child. You walk all this way? Berla asked without turning. Had to. Shoes. Didn't think of 'em. You hungry? No. The spoon scraped the pot. I got greens too. I'm not here to eat. Berla finally turned. She looked at the baby, then at the apron in June's hand. Her face didn't change. He was left at the fence, June said. Wrapped in this. Berla walked over slow, took the apron, sat down in the chair by the window, folded it corner to corner, smooth, exact. You recognize it? Berla didn't answer. That's Mama's stitch. Berla kept folding. Say something. Berla nodded toward the window. That willow still there? Yeah. Good. Dig behind it. What? Not too deep. You'll hit metal. You buried something? Go dig. June stared at her. Now. She went. The willow hadn't grown right since the lightning split its side 12 years back. The ground was wet, soft from the last rain. She used her hands. Cold mud filled her nails. After maybe 2 feet, her fingers hit metal, a biscuit tin. She pulled it up, wiped it against her shirt, and ran back in. Berla didn't look. You knew. I knew. You lied. I kept quiet. June opened the tin. Inside were papers. Old, yellowed, folded tight. Some stuck together. What is this? Things your mother kept. June flipped through. Utility bills, a pharmacy slip, 2 clinic forms, and then 1 folded paper with a red circle drawn twice around the same name. Jonas Yellen. Berla flinched. You know him? Everybody knew him. He hurt her? Berla didn't speak. He got her pregnant. Berla stared at the wall. Is this him? Could be. Is he alive? Last I heard. Where? Still got land down by Hollow Ridge. June picked up the baby. He was quiet again. Almost too quiet. He's not the first, is he? Berla closed her eyes. No. June turned to the tin. Dug through more. Found a second form. Different name. Bethany Jo Varl. She looked at Berla. 16. Same clinic. Berla said nothing. What happened to her? She didn't come back either. June felt sick. How many? I stopped counting after 5. You knew this. You sat on it. I protected what I could. You buried evidence. I buried grief. June stood. Her hands trembled. They took girls, got 'em pregnant, buried 'em, and you folded aprons and stirred broth. Berla's voice cracked. I stitched the names they wouldn't speak. June dropped the tin on the table. Paper spilled. Why didn't you tell me? You were a child. I'm not now. Number, and now you carry it. June looked down at the baby. His eyes wide, still, like he'd been listening the whole time. Is this mine? She whispered. Berla shook her head. Number, he's a messenger. What's he carrying? Truth. June swallowed hard. I can't raise him. You don't have to. Then what? Let him guide you. To what? To who did this? June picked up the paper again. Jonas Yellen. Berla nodded. June grabbed the apron, slung it over her shoulder, walked to the door. You gonna shoot him? Berla asked. I don't know. Berla stood. You want a gun? No. Take the hatchet then. It's behind the stove. June didn't move. Berla walked over, pulled the old rusted blade from its place, and held it out. June stared at it. You sure? Dead sure. She took it. Should have let me burn that tin, Berla said. No. You ready to carry what it means? Been carrying it. Just didn't have a name for it. Berla nodded. Then go give it one. June opened the door. Wind hit her face. The baby didn't flinch, didn't blink. She turned once more. You gonna be okay? Berla smiled soft. I already buried everything worth losing. June walked out, baby wrapped tight, hatchet at her side. Behind her, Berla sat again, the apron in her lap, hands steady, The spoon in the pot never moved. The first one came before noon. Red pickup. Door didn't close right. She stepped out slow, holding a can of beans in one hand, a folded towel in the other. You June? Yes. Heard there's a baby. There is. He quiet? Too quiet. The woman stepped up on the porch, eyes on the child. That apron, she said. You recognize it? Looks like my cousin's. She wore one like that in '91. What happened to her? She left for town, never came back. You tell the sheriff? He told me she ran off with a trucker, said I should stop calling. What was her name? Lana. Lana Ruth. You ever find her? No. She set the beans down on the porch rail, gave the baby one last look, and left without another word. By 2 o'clock, another truck pulled in, this time a younger woman, hair tied up, jeans stained with paint. You live alone? She asked. I do now. He's sleeping okay. He barely moves. That's how mine was. First one, boy, came out with eyes too old. What happened to him? He died. 2 weeks in. Doctor said heart defect. Was he wrapped in anything? A blue quilt. My mother's stitching. You still have it? They took it. Who? Sheriff's men. Said it was evidence. I never saw it again. When was this? 2003. She handed June a bottle of formula. Don't warm it too long. They like it room temp. The third woman didn't knock. She brought a shotgun. Where's the boy? Sleeping. Where's the crate? Still at the fence. You touch it? No. Don't. Why? It carries. June stepped aside. The woman didn't come in. She looked through the screen, eyes narrow. You remember Daisy Mott? Tall. Worked the diner. Had a baby in '89. Said it belonged to a man who didn't exist. What happened to her? Sheriff said suicide, but I saw the bruises. And the baby? Gone. No record. None. She turned to go, then paused. He said he burned them all. Who said that? Jonas. That name again. By dusk, 4 more women had come. One brought diapers. One brought a blanket with a daisy pattern. One didn't speak at all, just stood on the steps staring at the child until June closed the door. Each one looked at the apron with the same quiet dread. Each called it something different. One said it was a mourning cloth. One said it was for first bleed. One said it came from a house that had burned down twice. Every whisper ended the same. He said he burned them all. June sat by the window as the sun dropped. Low. The baby hadn't cried once, just lay in his basket blinking. Burla showed up after dark. No knock. Just opened the door and stepped in with a jar of pickles and a rusted kitchen knife. You should sleep. Can't. You hear anything strange? No. Lights flicker? A little. Water tastes different? I haven't drank yet. Don't. Not from the tap. Why? Just don't. Burla sat at the table, knife on her lap. Did you know them? June asked. The women? Yes. Some. Others were just stories. Why come now? They were waiting for the name. Jonas. Burla nodded. They knew. But you had to say it first. Why me? Because you're hers. June looked at the baby. Is he? No. Then what is he? Burla didn't answer. Outside, something knocked against the porch railing. Not a hand, not wood. Something softer. They didn't move. Then came the cry. High. Piercing. Not from the baby. Burla stood, knife ready. June grabbed the child, held him tight. The cry faded. Was that? No. Burla said, then what? Old sound. From before fences. June swallowed. The baby cooed. He's not scared, she said. He wouldn't be. Why not? He's not from here. June looked down. The baby smiled. Burla stood still, watching. You need to decide, she said. Decide what? Whether to follow the ones who left. And if I don't, they'll come for him. Who? The ones who think they burned it all. Burla walked to the door. You gonna leave me alone with this? You're not alone. Not anymore. The door closed. The baby blinked and finally cried. She ripped the feed sack in half with her teeth, pushed it flat across the kitchen table. The baby slept in the basket by the sink, wrapped in the daisy quilt. Sunlight hit the floorboards. Nothing felt quiet. She uncapped the marker, the thick kind Burla kept for canning jars. She didn't pause. She already knew the names. 1, 2, 3, 12. She circled the third. then the 9th. Drew a slow line under the 11th. No order, no structure, just weight. Men, women, one judge, a preacher's son, a deputy's sister, her own 8th grade teacher. Every one of them had stood still the year her mother disappeared. She folded the sack in half, then half again, slipped it into her coat pocket, tied the apron tight around her waist, carried the baby outside. "You're bringing him?" Burla asked from the porch. "He stays with me." Burla didn't argue, just tossed the truck keys underhand. "You walk in there. You walk like you got nothing to lose." "I don't." "You tell him that." "I'll show him." The drive into town was short, the road barely awake. She parked across from the courthouse. White paint, peeling, one flag hanging limp. She got out, baby on her hip, feed sack in hand. The post outside the building held the bulletin board, flyers, notices, yard sales, a lost cat. She reached for the thumbtacks in the cup nailed to the side, pinned the sack in the middle, smoothed it flat with her palm. 12 names, all in black. Beneath them she wrote in clean, slow letters, "Who else had a daughter come home quiet?" She stepped back. A door creaked open behind her. "June?" It was Mrs. Halpern. "Ran the tax office. You okay?" "Depends." "What's this?" "Read it." Mrs. Halpern looked. Her eyes narrowed. "This some kind of protest?" "No." "Then what?" "Memory." "That a threat?" "It's a mirror." The door behind her opened again. More feet. More eyes. "Is this about Faye?" June turned. "You remember her?" "I do." "Then read the names." "I can't be part of this." "You already were," someone whispered behind them. "That's Jonas Yellen's name." "I see it." "You think he's back?" "Number I think he never left." The crowd got quiet. June held the baby tighter. His eyes were open, watching. Still. "That your boy?" "No." "Whose?" "You tell me." A man stepped forward. "That's my brother's name on there." June stared. "Then you should ask him what he did." "You got proof?" "No." "Then take it down." She shook her head. "Try." His jaw twitched, but he didn't move. Mrs. Halpern leaned closer. "What's this really about?" "Every girl who didn't scream loud enough." A voice behind her, soft, older. "Do you remember Melanie Cobb?" June nodded. "She wore overalls, real quiet. She stopped coming to school senior year." "She ever come back?" "No." June didn't have to say anything. A second woman came closer. "You think they're buried somewhere?" "I think they're waiting." The judge's clerk stepped out next. "Your mother, was she one of them?" "She was the first they couldn't silence." "You sure?" "She stitched her name inside the cloth they left at my fence." Another hush. The man who'd spoken earlier folded his arms. "You think a name on a bag changes anything?" "It already has." "How?" "You're here." He looked away. The sheriff's truck pulled in, tires loud on gravel, door slammed. He walked up slow, looked at the board, then at her. "What's this?" "History." "You did this?" "Yes." "Take it down." "No." He stared at the baby. "You really want to raise him like this?" He came wrapped in truth. "You got no right." "I got every right. You stirring things that don't want stirring. They were never buried deep." He turned to the crowd. "You all standing behind this?" Nobody answered. "Anyone? Want to go on record?" Still silence. He looked back at June. "I can charge you for this." "You can try." He took a step closer. "I should have stopped this before it started." "You already tried. In 97, you don't know what you're doing." "I do." He reached for the sack. She slapped his hand away. "Touch it again, and I swear." He stepped back. "You're making enemies." They made themselves. He looked around, saw the eyes, the waiting, the quiet reckoning. "You think you're some kind of hero?" "No." "Then what are you?" "A daughter." The baby made a sound. Not a cry. Not a coo. Just something deep and steady. The sheriff looked once more at the list, then walked back to his truck. No one followed. The sacks stayed pinned. Wind tugged at the corner. One woman stepped forward, pulled a pen from her purse. She wrote a 13th name, just beneath the others. No one stopped her. The shed hadn't changed. Same tin roof. Same busted door that never shut all the way. The smell of damp feathers and rust hit her before she stepped inside. The baby stayed in the truck, asleep, Windows cracked. She left the engine running. The Plucker sat on a stool by the back wall. He didn't look up. His hands moved slow, pulling skin from bone like he'd been doing it since the world began. Still working. He didn't answer. She stepped closer. You remember me? June. His voice scratched like dry grass. You know why I'm here. He didn't respond. She reached into her coat, pulled out the apron, let it fall across the blood-smeared counter. That made him stop. He stared at it. His lips parted. Then he started talking. Didn't know it was hers, I swear. They just gave it to me. Said burn the stuff, so I did. Clothes, hairbrush, shoes. Even the little book she used to, she wrote. She liked to write poems, but I didn't read 'em, just tossed it all. Who told you to? Judge's man, Deputy Cone. Jonas was there too, but he didn't say much. He just stood watch. Like always. Just stared at me like I was gonna screw it up. Like I already had. You did. He nodded fast, like it hurt. She cried. I remember that. When they pulled her from the truck, I could hear her from inside. They shut her up before I finished cleaning the knives. Where? He pointed at the drain in the floor. She was still alive. I think so. You watched? I didn't want to. But you did. He rubbed his face. Grease smeared across his jaw. They made me take pictures. She stepped back. What? Upstairs, in the attic. I got boxes, not labeled, just faces. Why? Insurance. For who? For them, in case someone talked. They said I'd be next if I even said her name. And now? He looked at the apron again. Now it's too late. Show me the attic. He hesitated. I said, show me. He stood, hands shaking, wiped them on his jeans, opened the back door. They walked behind the shed. A rusted staircase led to the loft. Each step creaked like it hadn't been touched in years. At the top, he pulled a chain. One bulb lit the room. It was worse than she imagined. Boxes, dozens, all mismatched, all dusty, no labels. He opened one. Photos, dozens, loose. He pulled one out, handed it to her. She stared. A woman, tied at the wrists, apron on, but the face was turned away. Another photo. Same. Another. A girl sitting on a stool. Hands folded. Apron again. Face half shadowed. Another. Same apron. Different girl. She flipped through them, faster now. Name after name played in her head. Faye, Bethany, Lana, Melanie, Daisy. Why'd you keep these? They made me. You could have burned them. They knew how many there were. I tried to throw a few out once. Cone came by 2 days later. Said my truck smelled funny. I knew he knew. You ever help them? He didn't answer. She stared at him. You ever touch them? He looked down. I fed them. That's it. They were hungry. I gave them bread, water. Some cried. Some didn't. You watched them die? I looked away. She shoved the photos back into the box, stacked it on the table. I'm taking these. He didn't fight her. You said there were others. More boxes. Closet. She found it behind a tarp. Small closet, floor to ceiling. Boxes full of names she never said out loud. Girls she never met. All of them in that apron, always turned away. She grabbed 3 boxes, carried them down the stairs, threw them in the bed of her truck. He followed her out. You gonna show 'em? Everyone. I'll get blamed. You should. He nodded again. Slow. Heavy. I didn't kill him. You didn't stop it either. She climbed into the truck. Checked the baby. Still sleeping. The Plucker leaned on the window. You think it matters now? It will. She turned the key, backed out fast. As she hit the road, she looked in the rear view. He was still standing there. Same stained shirt. Same grease on his hands. Still not blinking. The crying started at 2:11 a.m. Sharp. Not a whimper, not a need. Just a sound full of something she couldn't name. She tried rocking him, bottle, cloth, skin to skin. Nothing worked. Please stop, she whispered. He didn't. She wrapped him in the daisy blanket, grabbed her coat, left the lights off, slipped on boots, no socks, carried him into the cold. The road behind the barn led to the trees, past the rusted gate, past the grove that smelled like ash after rain. At the end stood the old stone well. She hadn't touched it since she was 12. Burla had nailed boards across it after that summer. Said something about foxes and bad dreams. She kicked them loose now. Set the baby down on the mossy edge. He cried harder. "Okay," she said. "Okay." She reached into her coat pocket, pulled out the coin. The one she kept from her mother's drawer, the one with the year scratched off. No face, just weight. She held it above the hole, let it fall. No splash, just silence. The baby still cried. She reached into the other pocket. Nails, 6 of them, bent, rusted, pulled from the dirt behind the plucking shed 2 days earlier. She didn't ask why she picked them up. She just had. She dropped the first one in. The crying stuttered. She dropped the second. Quieter. The third. Quieter still. Fourth. The sound thinned. Fifth. Almost gone. She held the last one between her thumb and finger. The baby whimpered. Not crying. Just sound now. Almost human. She dropped the last nail. Silence. He closed his eyes. She didn't breathe. Then came the whisper. Software from below. Not air. Not voice. But movement with shape. She leaned in. The whisper came again. Her name. June. Low. Distant. Cracked. She knelt. Say it again. The sound came not louder, but closer. June. Her mother's voice, but changed. Mama? The baby stirred. June's hand gripped the stone. Where are you? Another whisper. Words she didn't know. Curved sounds. Wet. Round vowels that didn't belong to any place she'd ever heard. Say it again. The whisper repeated. Same strange language. Same slow pattern. Then silence. She sat back on the dirt. The baby slept now. Still. Peaceful. She stared at the well. The wind shifted. Leaves rattled, but nothing else moved. Was that you? She whispered. No answer. She picked him up. He was warm now. Thank you. She looked down the well once more. I'm listening, she said. But the whisper didn't return. Only the wind. Only the dark. She walked home barefoot, left the boots behind. The baby didn't wake, didn't cry, didn't even twitch. Behind her, the last nail echoed somewhere far, far below. They came just after sunrise. No calls, no signs, no engine sounds in the cold morning air. 12 trucks, 12 women, some in boots, some barefoot. They didn't knock, didn't ask, just walked in one by one. Each held a square, rough-stitched, washed in different kinds of sorrow. Denim, cotton, flour sack, canvas. One had blood on the edge. One smelled like soap. June stood inside the courthouse door, baby on her hip, apron folded under her arm. Here? One asked. Here, June said. The first woman knelt and laid her square down on the floor, near the center. The next followed, then another. Each piece met edge to edge. No words exchanged, no instructions needed. The sound of fabric brushing tile was the only thing that moved. The air shifted. June stepped forward, laid the apron in the center. No thread, no pin. It stayed flat. The courthouse clerk walked out from the back, froze in place. What's this? No one answered. The clerk backed away. June held the baby closer. He didn't make a sound. The sheriff's door creaked open. Boots stepped out. He stood there, taking it in. Didn't speak, didn't blink. His face was hollow. He opened his mouth, closed it. Behind him, the judge's door opened. Steps heavier, slower, measured. The judge walked out in full robe, black as mud, collar neat, hair combed too careful. He stopped at the edge of the quilt. What is this? Silence. He looked down. Who taught y'all to sew this into the floor? The oldest woman stepped forward. No one taught us. We already knew. This is a courthouse, he said. It's also where she screamed, June said. Who? My mother. You have proof? June turned the apron over, showed the back seam. 2 names stitched. Red thread. Faded, but there. One hers, one her mother's. The judge didn't blink. You know this violates code. So did burying her without consent. Watch yourself. I've been watching all my life. He looked at the others. And the rest of you, you stand by this? They didn't nod, didn't flinch. They stood, still, quiet, solid. You want an investigation? No, June said. Then what? Witnesses. To what? To the names you erased. He turned to the sheriff. You let this happen. The sheriff didn't speak. The judge's jaw clenched. You want justice? We want it spoken. This is theater. This is truth. Take it up with the state. They were buried in this county." He stepped over the quilt. "You think this scares me?" "No," June said. "We're not here to scare you." "Then why?" "To bury you the way you buried them." He stopped. "You threatening an official?" "Number just naming him." The quilt lay flat, unmoving, no breeze in the room, but something shifted. A low creak beneath the floor. The judge heard it. So did the clerk. "Someone open a vent." "No," said one of the women. "That sound is them. You're playing with things you don't understand. We understand enough." The baby stirred, eyes wide, silent. June looked at the judge. "You signed off on it, didn't you?" "No proof, just the names." "Names aren't evidence." "They are if they match the boxes." "What boxes?" "The ones from the plucking shed." That landed, a flicker behind his eyes. "You went up there." "I did." "You took them." "They're here." "You brought photographs into a public building without clearance?" "We brought truth." "You want a trial?" "No," June said. "We want a reckoning." A woman stepped forward, held out a photo, one from the attic. The judge didn't take it. "Put that away." She dropped it on the quilt. It landed face up. He looked. His mouth opened, then shut. He took one step back. "You don't know what you're doing," he said. "We know what you did." The sheriff still hadn't moved. "You gonna say something?" The judge barked. The sheriff looked at June, then at the floor. "I'm done lying," he said. The judge turned. "What did you say?" "I said I'm done." "You worked for me." "I worked for fear." "Don't make me bring this to the county board." "I already did," June said. "You what?" "They're coming." "Who?" "Whoever still has a spine." "You don't want this war." "It already started." The baby yawned. One woman knelt again, smoothed the edge of a square. "You hear that?" she asked. "Hear what?" "The floor." A sound, faint, like slow breathing beneath them. The judge looked pale. "You dig under this building, you'll find nothing." "You sure?" He said nothing. June bent down, pressed her palm to the fabric. Still warm. She stood. "We're not leaving." He looked at the sheriff again. "Arrest her." The sheriff didn't move. "Now." The sheriff looked at June. "You have more squares?" "Plenty." He turned back to the judge. "She's not the one who needs arresting." The room went still. One by one, the women sat down. Each placed a hand on the quilt. Each looked at the judge. He backed away. The courthouse clock struck 9. Outside, another truck pulled in. Then another. Then another. The knock came just past midnight. Not hard, just steady. 3 soft taps. She didn't flinch. She'd been sitting at the table for hours, eyes on the apron, folded by the sink. Baby asleep on the floor beside her, chest rising and falling like a clock that didn't care who watched. She stood, didn't rush, didn't ask who it was, just opened the back door and let the cold come in. The deputy stood on the step, hat in hand, shirt half buttoned like he dressed in a hurry. His face didn't look dangerous, it looked tired. "June, don't call me like we're old friends." He nodded. "Can I come in?" "No." He looked over her shoulder. "Baby sleeping?" "He's fine." He stepped back, held something out. "What's that?" "Insurance." She looked at it, a pistol-y, wrapped tight in soft cloth. "Where'd you get it?" "It was hers." June didn't move. "Who gave it to you?" "She did. Long time ago." "You mean my mother?" "Yeah." He held it out further. The cloth had faded green flowers on it, same pattern Faye used to wrap pickling jars. June stared. "It still smells like vinegar," he said. "And smoke." "Why smoke?" "House fire, you remember?" "I remember who lit it." He nodded. "She gave it to me in a bag. Said if something ever came back, this would stop it." "She say what?" "Just that. If it ever comes back, this'll stop it." "She talking about a man?" He shrugged. "She didn't say. She knew it wasn't done. She always knew." June took the gun, peeled the cloth back slow. The metal was dark, cold, not new. "How many shots?" "6. "Loaded?" "Yeah." "You checked?" "Wouldn't hand it to you if I hadn't." She looked at him. "Why now?" "He's not gonna let it go quiet." "Who?" "Judge. Maybe others too. But he's the loudest." "Thought he scared you." "He did." "What changed?" "Your list." That quilt. She wrapped the gun back up, tucked it under her arm. You think they'll come tonight? I think someone's already watching. You bring backup. He smiled barely. No one left to call. You still a deputy? Technically. You still carry a badge? I left it in the truck. She stepped aside. Come in. He didn't move. I don't belong in that house. Neither do they. He glanced past her, eyes on the dark hallway. What's it feel like? He asked. What? Holding him, after all this. He's quiet, like he's waiting for me to figure it out. Figure what out? Why they didn't finish the job the first time. You think he's hers? I don't know. Yours? She shook her head. Then whose? She looked him in the eye. Wrong question. He lowered his gaze. Where'd you find the cloth? In the shed, buried under flour sacks. I kept it. Didn't know why. You think she knew what was coming? Yeah. He shifted his feet. You gonna use it? If they knock. If they cross the porch. If they say her name wrong. You sure? No. But you'll do it? I already made peace with that. He nodded. I'll sit out front tonight. You don't have to. I do. You scared? Yeah. Good. He turned to go. She stopped him. Why now? After all these years? He hesitated. I saw something, he said. After the quilt. What? I went to the storage room to check the old files. And? There weren't any. Not one. No birth certificates, no autopsies, no complaints. You surprised. But I saw the boxes. What boxes? Same ones from the plucking shed. She didn't speak. They were in the judge's office. He has them. He took them before the hearing. Why? Control. She clenched her jaw. You get them back? But I took pictures. You still have them? Truck glove box. Go get them. I will. He paused. If anything happens. Nothing will. You sure? She held the gun tighter. I'm not sure of anything. But I'm not scared of them anymore. He gave a slow nod. I'll keep watch. She closed the door behind him, turned the lock. The baby stirred, not crying, just sound. She knelt, touched his cheek, still warm. She looked down at the pistol, then back at the door. Then she waited. The blast woke the town at 3:07 a.m. No thunder, no lightning, no wind, just fire. Bright orange tore through the window of the feed store. Shattered glass rained over Maine. The smell of kerosene pushed into the sky like someone wanted God to smell it too. She was already sitting up, eyes wide, baby in her arms. The cry never came. He didn't move. She shook him gently. Wake up. Nothing. She lifted him, held him to her chest, checked his breath. Still there, faint, like sleep had gone too deep. Outside, sirens didn't come. No one called them. She stepped onto the porch barefoot. Cold boards underfoot. Wind sharp. Burla was already walking up the road, coat over her gown. No flashlight, no fear. It was the feed store, she said. I heard. They picked from your list. Whose name? Burla didn't answer, just handed her a scrap of paper. Deputy got it from the judge's bin, right before the blast. June unfolded it. Bethany Jo Varl, underlined in red. Her name was third on the feed sack. She looked back toward town. Smoke thick. No alarms. No help. They're not hiding anymore, June said. They never were, Burla replied. Inside, the baby made a sound. Not a cry, not a breath. Something between. June rushed in. Knees hit the floor. He was still warm, eyes open, still not blinking. She rocked him gently. You with me? The front door creaked again. The deputy stood in the hall, jacket soaked in sweat, face pale. They burned it. What? The quilt, sheriff's office. Her stomach dropped. All of it? What's left ain't much. Who did it? Didn't see. They were gone before I got there. You tried to stop them. I was at the edge of town, saw the glow. By the time I got close, it was lit. You get any photos? They took my phone, smashed it on the gravel. June stood. They're pulling the stitches, she said. The deputy nodded, trying to unwrite what already happened. She looked at the baby again. He still hasn't blinked. Burla placed a hand on her shoulder. They're trying to pull him back. June gripped tighter, over my body. They're working fast, the deputy said. They're scared. He nodded. They should be. She turned to Burla. We need names. You already have names. I need the ones we didn't stitch. Burla frowned. That's not how it works. How does it work then? Burla's voice dropped. They show up when it's time. June walked to the table, pulled out the pistol, laid it down. We make it time. The deputy eyed the weapon. You sure? Number, but I'm done waiting. Burla crossed the room, picked up a rag from the sink, wrapped it around the barrel. Clean it after, she said, before you hand it back. I'm not handing it back. The baby let out a single cough, then went still again. June looked out of the window, smoke still rising. They wanted her name gone. Burla spoke soft. They don't get to erase Bethany again. The deputy leaned against the wall. I checked the back lot. Judge's truck was gone. He did it himself? Or made damn sure it happened? June looked down. No one else in this town saw the fire? Everyone saw. No one came. Silence filled the room. Burla folded her arms. We finished the list. June nodded. We show what's left. The deputy stepped forward. I'll drive. June grabbed the baby. He's coming with us. Burla met her eyes. You sure? Number, but he came for this. They stepped into the night. The road to the courthouse still smelled like old smoke and gravel. No traffic, no porch lights, just the feeling of watching eyes. The baby didn't stir. He just stared. Still no blink. Still no sound. Still waiting. She left her boots on the porch. No coat, no flashlight, just the apron tied tight and the baby on her back. Wind low, ground sharp, the kind of quiet that warned more than it calmed. She walked straight down the center of the road. Smoke still drifted from the feed store's remains, thick and slow. Nothing else moved. No trucks, no dogs, no screens lit behind windows. Only eyes, hidden. Only fear, listening. When she reached the wreckage, she stopped. Black ash dusted everything. Iron frame warped. Glass gone. The front steps cracked and sagging inward like the building gave up before the flame could finish. She knelt. The baby didn't stir. She dragged her fingers through the soot, let it coat her palms. The heat was still there, faint under the surface. She stood, stepped across what used to be a doormat, and walked on. The church sat across from the courthouse. White paint stripped to its bones. Bell gone. Door nailed shut since Easter 3 years back. She walked to the side wall, the one facing the street. Stone, cold, smooth. She pressed her hand to it. Then she began. Slow, shaky strokes. F-A-Y-E. The ash smeared and stuck. Her hand trembled. She kept going. Why again? She circled it. One full name. Her mother's name. She stepped back. Black ash on white stone. It didn't shine. It didn't shout. It just stayed. Footsteps behind her. Software. She didn't turn. Another woman approached. Then another. Then two more. All barefoot. All wrapped in aprons, coats, house dresses. None spoke. They just stood beside her. One knelt, picked up ash, rubbed it between her fingers. Another traced the letters with her eyes, then closed them. Third placed a square of scorched cloth at the base of the wall. Still no words, still no sound. Then came the sheriff. Boots crunching gravel, gun holstered, no hat, just his breath fogging in front of him. He stopped when he saw them. 12 women now, standing, still, facing the name. He cleared his throat. You think this helps? No one replied. You think it'll stop what's coming? June turned. It already has. He looked down. You're making targets out of all of them. We were targets the moment we were born. You've gone too far. Number, I've gone just far enough. He took another step. This town needs order. This town needs a grave. He looked at the baby on her back. He's not part of this. He's all of it. The judge arrived next. Black coat, gloves, same cold smirk. You going to let this stand, Sheriff? The sheriff didn't answer. She defaced public property. It's ash, June said. It's vandalism. It's her name. You want to go to jail for this? Build me a cell. He stepped closer. Back away from the wall. No. I won't ask again. June reached behind her, touched the baby's hand. Still warm. Still breathing. She didn't move. The judge turned to the sheriff. Well? The sheriff's voice cracked. I'm not arresting anyone. The judge stared at him. You've lost your mind. The sheriff turned to June. What do you want? Silence. You already have that. Number, I want yours. The judge scoffed. You think this is justice? Number, this is memory. He pointed at the wall. That won't last. Good. The women didn't move, didn't speak. didn't blink. June stepped aside. One by one, they stepped forward. Each picked up ash. Each marked a letter, names, words, years. None said a thing. One wrote Daisy. One wrote Lena Ruth. One wrote Bethany Joe. One wrote mine. The judge backed up. "This is a threat." "This is a warning," June said. The sheriff dropped his badge. "Let it hit the ground." "You can keep it," he told the judge. "You'll regret this." "I already do." The judge turned, walked fast, didn't look back, didn't speak again. The night stayed still. June looked up, stars above, nothing below but truth in black and white. She pressed her hand to the baby's back. "I did it, Mama," she whispered. No one answered. She didn't need them to. The sun came up without asking permission. Soft orange light cracked over the barn roof, stretched down the road, and touched the fence line like it had every other day. The same breeze, same dust, same quiet. She walked out barefoot. The gravel bit harder now. Her steps didn't rush. The crate was still there. Same corner of the fence, same lean in the wood. Still, splintered, still old, but empty. The cloth that once lined it was gone. Only the stain remained, reddish, faded. It hummed, not loud, not with sound, but with memory. It pushed up from the wood like heat from a pan that never cooled. She didn't touch it. She stood there a long time. The baby was inside, alive, asleep, no marks, no change, just breathe, steady. She reached for the apron, untied it from her waist, folded it once, then unfolded it, held it up. Red thread still clung to the seams. One name on the outside, another stitched inside. She walked to the fence, hooked the apron over the top wire, let it hang. It moved with the wind. That was enough. She turned. Burla stood near the porch, arms folded. "You done?" June nodded. "Feels like I should be." Burla looked toward the crate. "It's still humming." "I know." Burla stepped closer. "You going to bury it?" "No." "Burn it?" "No." "Why not?" "Let it stay. Let them see it." Burla looked at the apron. "You sure it's over?" "No." "Then what now?" "Whatever comes next." They both stood quiet. Then came the scream. Far off. Not close, but not far enough. It started sharp, ripped through the stillness, then didn't stop. Burla turned her head. "That him?" "Yeah." "The Plucker?" June nodded once. "You think he saw something?" Number I think he remembered. The scream didn't fade. It clawed at the air like it wanted back inside whatever let it out. Burla stepped toward the porch. "You going?" "No," June said. Burla paused. "You want me to check?" "No." "You want to go back to bed?" "No." "You want coffee?" June breathed. "I want it to be quiet again." Burla didn't reply. The scream kept going. June walked past her, back inside. The screen door didn't slam. She laid the baby in the basket. He rolled once, breathed deep. No cry. She sat at the kitchen table, hands folded. Burla came in, laid a mug down in front of her. "You think they'll come for him again?" "No." "You think they're gone?" "No." "You think he'll ever speak?" "Not to me." Burla sat. They listened to the sound, still rising, still wild. "You think he's being punished?" "No." "You?" "No." "Then who?" June looked at the wall, at the photo still stuck behind the magnet. Her mother, holding a loaf of bread, face turned, apron bright white. "He punished himself too late," she said. Burla nodded. The scream cracked once, fell to a groan, then rose again. "Will it stop?" Burla asked. June sipped the coffee. "No." They didn't speak after that. Outside, the apron flapped once in the breeze. The crate sat still, waiting. The deputy shifted in his chair, eyes fixed on the door. "You want me to check on him?" "No." "He'll break his throat." "He should." Burla frowned. "What if he runs here?" "He won't," June said. "How do you know?" "Because the ones who scream never move. The ones who move don't scream." The deputy let out a dry laugh. "That's about right." The baby stirred. His hand reached out, brushing air, then curled again, still breathing steady. June stood, walked to the window, watched the fence line. The apron hung flat now. No wind, no sound but the scream rising and falling down the road. "You think it's him seeing?" she asked. "Seeing what?" Burla asked. The boxes, the faces. Burla stirred her coffee without drinking. "Maybe he's seeing what you can't yet." The deputy leaned forward. You still got those photos. In the truck. You should burn them. No, June said. Why not? They prove something. They prove nothing but sickness. They prove silence. That's enough. The scream down the road bent into something else, not quite words, more like someone choking on a name. Burla's hand trembled on her cup. He's calling her. Which one? June asked. Doesn't matter. June set the mug down hard. It matters. She turned from the window, grabbed the pistol wrapped in cloth, unfolded it slow. Metal caught the gray light. The deputy shook his head. You don't need that for him. No, June said, not for him. Then for who? You'll know when they come. They sat in silence again. The scream broke, returned softer, then stopped. No one moved. The baby blinked. Once. Burla gasped. You saw it? Yes. One blink. Yes. The deputy crossed himself, then caught himself halfway and dropped his hand. First time? Since the fence. The baby closed his eyes again. June felt her throat tighten. She turned back to the window. The crate looked darker now. Shadow, heavier than the light around it. Burla whispered, You hear that? No. Listen closer. They did. It wasn't screaming anymore. It was humming. Same tone as the crate. Low. Long. Like wood singing to itself. The deputy pushed his chair back. That's not right. No, June said, but it's here. What does it mean? It means it's waiting. For what? June looked at the apron on the fence. For me. Burla stood. Don't you walk out there. I have to. You don't. I do. She moved to the door. The deputy stood quick, blocking her. You step off that porch and it'll follow you back. It already has. You don't know what you're carrying. June looked at the basket. The baby's chest lifted slow, fell slow. I know enough. She pushed past him, opened the door, stepped out barefoot into the dirt. Cold morning, empty street, smoke still hanging thin from the feed store's ruins. She walked to the crate, closer. Now the humming was stronger. It wasn't coming from inside. It was coming from the wood itself, vibrating like a throat too old to sing. She knelt, laid her palm flat on it. The hum stopped. Behind her, Burla called out, June! June didn't answer. The deputy shouted, Don't touch it! Too late. She flipped the crate over. The inside was marked again. More scratches, fresh. Lines carved deep. 12 marks, crossed by one long slash. 13. Her breath caught. She whispered, Mama. A voice moved under the dirt. Software familiar. Not a scream. Not a hum. Just words. Too faint to understand. She pressed her ear to the wood. Burla shouted again, Get away from it! She stayed still. The words came clearer, her mother's voice, saying her name, June. Over and over, she closed her eyes. Tell me what to do. The voice shifted, grew heavier, then stopped. The crate cracked down the middle, splintered open. Nothing inside, just dust, just silence. She stood, backed away. Burla ran out, grabbed her arm. You all right? Yes. What did it say? Nothing I can use. The deputy kept his hand near his holster. You bringing that thing inside? No. Then what? She turned to the apron hanging on the wire. Let it rot. They walked back toward the porch. Halfway there, the Plucker screamed again, this time louder, ragged, endless. The baby stirred, opened his eyes, and this time he blinked twice. Burla whispered, It's starting. June didn't answer. The baby looked at her, mouth opening like he wanted to form a word, but all that came out was breath. She held him close, stepping inside, leaving the crate behind. The apron swayed once more in the breeze, then stilled again.